And now, the group you've all been waiting for, the Lovers of Five.
Hi, I'm David, and I'd like to tell you about my favorite number, which is the number 5. And the number 5 is my favorite number because it has one straight line here, and then it has a round line on the bottom here, and then it has another line on the top there. I love singing about the number 5. Give me 5. Give me 5. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me 5. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you love me more, give me 5. Yeah. Give me 5.
Oh, I didn't know we had a hard stop there.
Oh, that's okay.
Always use your head.
Hello again, fellow basement dwellers. This is your good friend Patrick O'Dowd. And yes, while you did hear different music, don't let those ears deceive you too much. You are still here for another edition of Bandwagon Nerds. Bandwagon Nerds is, of course, a part of the Chairshot Radio Network here on thechairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head.
Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Also, make sure you head over to ProWrestlingTees.com for all of your chair shot swag needs. If you are listening live on the YouTube channel, thank you very much. And make sure you hit that like, smash that subscribe button, do all the things to keep us in your algorithm. If you are listening on the recorded podcast here on Monday, make sure you are following us on your podcasting network so that you get every piece of content from thechairshot.com without having to go through all the busy work of searching. It's there. It's right there. Heck, if you got notifications on, it'll pop up on your phone. It's very exciting. So make sure you're following us. Make sure you're subscribing to us. You will notice if you are watching here on the live YouTube stream that we are a minimal bandwagon today. That's right. If you are listening to the live stream of the Four Corners podcast, you already know this. For those of you who are just joining, Dave decided to romance his lady for a weekend. Had a little getaway, chose love over the bandwagon. Oh, yeah. Looks like you were looking for something. There it is. Like, what's going on there? But that is okay. That is okay. We are joined, of course, by our other OG member, Mr. PC Tunney, the executive vice president of Wednesday programming here on thechairshot.com. I can't help but notice, Tunney, though.
I wish it was just Wednesdays. I wish that was the only day I was in charge.
Fair enough. But that's the joke.
It is. It's a good one, though, too.
I can't help. That's the joke. But I couldn't help but notice that the music for Bandwagon Nerds was different today. What is something going on? Something happening?
Well, I mean, after I take a drink out of this here, is that like half full or half empty? This here,
about half full. I'm a half full guy.
AKA, could it be a special Bandwagon Nerds edition of the 5x5?
It is a special Bandwagon Nerds edition of the 5x5. Here's the deal, folks. This week in the land of the nerdosphere, there's not a lot of news. I didn't really like even the trailer park. I was like, well, we could that Robert Pattinson movie about what is it? The Dateline guy, the Catch a Predator dude.
Oh, yeah.
That trailer came out. I guess there's that. So there's not been anything really blockbuster. There's not been a lot of news, and that is because next week is Destination D23, the ultimate Disney fan event that will have probably some Star Wars news, some Marvel news, just general Disney news. That day is Friday. That is their entertainment news dump day is going to be Friday for those of you who may be interested in following along. So I would wager that come our recording and live broadcast, we will have plenty of news around the nerdosphere to talk about. Hopefully some trailers. You never know. Destination D23 can be finicky, but it's one of the annual ones that they're having in Anaheim. Those tend to be bigger. Those tend to have more news. It's hosted by Neil Patrick Harris. And the way Destination D23 works, it's 3 nights. Friday night is always the entertainment night. That's when they do entertainment news. Saturday night is when they do parks news. So parks and resorts and things like that. And then Sunday is their Disney Legends, basically their Disney Hall of Fame ceremony. That's how they wrap up Destination D23. It's their Comic-Con. And there are booths and information things throughout the day, but we will be paying attention to Friday evening because that's when the big news will hit. So I was sitting there thinking to myself, we have no Dave. We don't have a lot of news. So what if we bring back a show that I sporadically would sprinkle in every now and again? Never, for those of you who don't know, which most of you listen probably do know, Patrick has a specific number of podcasts he is fine doing on the regular, and that number is capped at 3. And so a fourth podcast was never forthcoming, but it was a fun sort of, hey, let's try this concept. Let's do this concept every now and again. And when we feel the need for something special, let's do this thing called the 5x5. And so if you remember a few years back, because it's been a while since we've done this, the concept is pretty basic. Myself and Tunny here were given a category or topic, and we are basically deciding the 5 best and worst within this topic. And this week for this, I thought we'd go personal, just like I did on the Four Corners. If you listen live, you already know that. Tomorrow, if you're listening on the podcast, you'll be able to catch that. A personal list of ours, our 5 teams that we know by heart. For this particular show, I decided let's dive into the world of television and let's do the GOATs and the GOATs. And for those of you who need a little more clarification, what I mean is we're going to talk about our television shows that are the GOATs, and then we're going to talk about our television shows that we just think are GOATs.
They're bad.
That's right. Greatest of all times versus
Bad.
Bad. If you could either be the hero or the GOAT, these are the GOATs. And so GOATs versus GOATs. We're going to follow a familiar format. We all know that the worst tends to bring the headlines, so we will always do the worst in the second part of the show. We will do our best lists here before the commercial break. We'll do our worst for this for the second half. Then we will talk a little what you're watching, because I've been watching some stuff. I want to give some thoughts on some things, at least that I checked out over the weekend. 1 positive review, 1 lukewarm review, where unfortunately I got to admit that Dave and Tony were right about something. And that's always very difficult for me. So we'll get to that later on in the show. But for this, Tony, I felt like this was just an easy, fun thing for us to do, to kind of take a look back at what we consider our personal. I don't like to use Mount Rushmores. I think that's a tired thing. But these are our greatest of all time shows. That's what we're going to do first. And I'm going to, we're going to do this the way we do every list, where one of us will go. I'm not going to worry too much. Like if you have a show that's on your, I don't think we're going to have any repeats, at least on the same list. We might have repeats on the opposite list.
No.
And that'll be fun. That'll be a fun conversation to have if that turns out to be true. Maybe.
Probably one.
Probably at least one. We'll see how that goes. But for this, I am going to cede the floor to you to start us off on a positive note with your number 5 greatest of all time television show.
So we're going to start out bending the rules right away. I put Gordon Ramsay. He's done. We lost him.
You know what? I'm walking away.
He's on. Okay, well, let's talk.
I threw my headphones, but
let's talk more about the 1996, 97. Oh, you're back, Green Bay Packers. No, okay. You're back.
Stop.
Mine, it's Gordon Ramsay, and if I had to pick just one, it'd probably be the MasterChef show. But Next Level Chef, MasterChef Junior is really fun to watch the kids, and then Kitchen Nightmares is back right now, where he goes in and reams people a new one and rebuilds the restaurant. So I just love watching Gordon Ramsay. his character is caring for people too, and then the talent and the transitions he does with a lot of these people. You see him get better as chefs or turn a restaurant around. So I'm just a big Gordon Ramsay guy.
So just the entire catalog.
I mean, Master Chef, if I had to go pick one,
Got you. Is he Hell's Kitchen too?
He is. Hell's Kitchen is also very good. Good call. Way to bring that up. See that?
I've nearly eaten at a Hell's Kitchen because there's one in Foxwoods Casino.
Yes.
I've heard good things. So
yeah.
All right. So for my number 5, the thing for me when I was looking at like these greatest of all time shows, I was like, what are shows that I have fallen in love with to the extent that I watch them on repeat over and over and over again, season after season after season. And whether there's only one show on my list that is a current show, but I've already watched that show 3 times in its 2 seasons. But my first show is one that I used to watch with Mrs. O'Dowd, and I still watch on repeat. And I like comedies. I think everybody on the bandwagon host lists, like when we've been doing our listicle shows, which we still have an 80s project to finish. We still got to get those 80 theme song bangers, but nobody.
97 next week too.
We might have like an 8-hour long podcast next week. We'll have to figure it out. Marathon Men here on the bandwagon. I also got to talk about recording that day because I might need to record on Saturday. But we'll talk about that later. However, Mrs. O'Dowd and I, when we watch sitcoms and we talk about this, one of the things that keeps us going to a sitcom is when the entire group of characters that are a part of that sitcom are people that you get behind and root for and enjoy, and are genuinely seem to be at their core good people. And we're going to see the opposite of that when I talk about worst shows of all time. And for me, one of my favorite shows, and I can't even deny it, I've watched it beginning to end so many times, is Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec with Amy Poehler. I'm forgetting his name already. Ron Swanson. Nick Offerman.
Chris Pratt.
Nick Offerman. Yeah, Christopher Pratt, Aubrey Plaza, Aziz Ansari, Retta, all of them. They are this misfit bunch of people led by a very misguided Leslie Knope in the world of small town government. And and later on, Rob Lowe and God, I always get his name wrong, but he plays Ben Wyatt and Adam Scott is not. Is it Adam Scott? Is that his name?
It might be.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's Adam Scott. And I should know him because, again, he's going to be on my list twice. But Adam Scott, who plays Ben Wyatt, they're all characters that, while they are flawed, they are deeply flawed people, they're also incredibly good people. And fundamentally, they are good at heart, and you root for them. You want them to succeed, even in the face of all of their failures. And I love them.
The Cones of Dunshire? Is that what it is?
The Cones of Dunshire is one of the best episodes there. One of my favorite running jokes is Adam Scott's character, Ben Wyatt. He keeps falling out of jobs in government, but because he's the love interest of Leslie Knope, he's trying to stay around in Pontiac, Indiana, and he's an accountant. And so he keeps getting hired by the same accounting firm because they love him so much. And every time they hire him, he quits on his first day because he gets offered a better job and he goes and takes it elsewhere. But they love him so much. And eventually he leaves them the Cones of Dunshire as a thank you for always hiring him. And they patent it in his name. And he makes all this money off of the Cones of Dunshire becoming a popular board game. It's great show.
What's the little horse's name?
Little Sebastian.
Little Sebastian.
Yes. Oh my God. I've only cried twice in my life. Once when I was hit by a bus, and the other a week ago when I learned of the passing of little Sebastian. Ron Swanson. So
you got
the Ron Swanson Pyramid of Greatness.
Treat Yourself Day.
Treat Yourself. There's so many great things in that show.
That is literally one of my favorite shows as well.
It is. Rob Lowe, great role, just so surprising. Scientists say that they have that the first person who will live to be 150 years has already been born. I believe I am that person. It's such a great show. Rashida
Great
Jones.
call. Great call.
She's like Rashida Jones is the straight man in the whole show. Like she's like the most normal person.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
great.
Aziz Ansari. Yeah, just a really good cast. Really great show.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
Excellent. My number 4 is tangentially related to what we are currently doing on Bandwagon Nerds. And that is because X-Men the Animated Series, the series that existed prior to X-Men 97, was so different than anything I'd ever seen in an animated show on a Saturday morning cartoon in my lifetime. I watched, like, that show came out while I was in high school, junior high and high school. It was so much more mature that as a high schooler, I was like, I got to watch this cartoon. And when Disney Plus came out and they had all the, I've watched the original X-Men 5-season run, even shitty season 5. I've watched them all over and over and over. It was so groundbreaking, so revolutionary, and really stoked the fire in a lot of ways, in my opinion, to comic book properties being seen as a more viable entertainment form, to where now we have what we have in front of us with Avengers, X-Men, Doomsday, all of this stuff that's going now. X-Men is my number 4 on my 5 greatest of all time shows.
Nice pick. Good pick. Yeah, we're having a great time covering it. We'll get to the penultimate and finale next season. Next
week.
This season next week. My number 4 is a game show.
Okay.
And it's Jeopardy. And pretty much it can include almost every iteration of it is excellent, right? I think Ken Jennings has taken over and done a wonderful job. Alex Trebek, to me, is one of the most iconic game show hosts of all time. And it was a pleasure to be able to watch him for so long. The writing on the show of the categories and the little clues within the answers, you should say, right? Because you're trying to figure out the question. Celebrity Jeopardy, I think, is always fun. The kids on there, the Kid Jeopardy or Teen Jeopardy or College Jeopardy is always really interesting. The Tournament of Champions. Go ahead, jump in.
My algorithm today, and I wanted to ask you if this was a thing that really happened. Did Ryan Gosling actually get a Final Jeopardy answer correct by writing IDK when trying to, I think it had something to do with an ACL. I saw this video and I didn't have time to look up and see if it was AI or not.
As well, I'm not sure. It might be real. I'm not sure though. Yeah.
Well, you keep talking. I'm actually gonna Google it because I saw that. It was just like, that's the sort of thing Tunney would know if it was real or not.
I think it might be real. But there used to be Music Jeopardy on VH1, and who was the host of that? Jeff Probst, ladies and gentlemen. And now, right now, streaming on Disney Plus is ESPN Jeopardy. And I'll get to more of that. Joe Buck is hosting when we get to what you're watching. But just Jeopardy in general, I used to DVR it and watch it religiously, and now I just catch it as much as I can. But always a trivia guy, always like writing trivia and written a few Jeopardies myself for friends and things of that nature. So
he did not. It was a fictional sketch as a promotion.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It was a scripted promotional sketch rather than a real episode. And it was released in early 2026 to promote his sci-fi film Project Hail Mary.
Also, Jeopardy created one of the greatest running sketches on Saturday Night Live of all time.
This show has hit a new low.
Celebrity Jeopardy. I'll take the penis mightier for 400.
Swords.
I'll take the rapist for 800. Anyway, Jeopardy.
That's not my name. It's Fred Ferguson.
Yeah, countless excellent ones there. So that's my number 4. My number 3 is the last time I'm going to bend the rules today, because to me they're not the same, but they're kind of the same. Whereas it's a group of people that mostly work together, and it's also each of these sitcoms I do not enjoy unless the main characters are together as opposed to when they are apart, and that would be The Office and The Big Bang Theory, which I've probably seen every episode of both of those shows at least 10 times. They're one of the most rewatchable shows, as opposed to my number 1 shit show of all time, is the opposite. It's something I've seen every episode of and is the least rewatchable show of all time. So the last time I'm going to cheat, but I have a tie for third. I have The Office and The Big Bang Theory because basically you can't get away without seeing them on one of your cable superstations.
Yeah, you really can't escape either one. And let's leave it at that.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. I've hey Tony, what subscription service do I beg the bandwagon to subscribe to almost
Apple
weekly?
Plus.
Apple TV Plus. Why do I do that?
Sorry, whatever it is. They pay you.
They do not.
Oh.
What is it that I say about them?
You really like it.
I think they have some of the best streaming programming that nobody watches out there, like without question. And I went back and forth as to whether to include this show because it is an active show. But I've never had a show engage me as strongly as the first 2 seasons of Severance did and have. And I mentioned Adam Scott before. Adam Scott is a fucking marvel in this series. And as this goes along, no, I'm not talking to my iPhone. As the series has gone on and progressed, it's started to transform because the basic concept of the show is that what if when you went to work, your outside persona was hacked away and was left to the outside world, and your inside persona worked for this company and was a completely different personality in person. And that's the basic conceit of the show is you see Adam Scott show up to work. He jumps in an elevator. When he steps out, he is a different personality, different human being. Like there's similarities in traits, but he's not the same guy as when he gets back on the elevator and he transforms back into himself. And that's what it starts. It starts and it looks like it was going to be this black comedy, and it is exploded into this beautiful, like crazy conspiracy movie of like, what does it all mean? Who, like, the way all these folks are interconnected, there's a cult involved in some way, shape, or form that is like it's so hard to describe, and it's so hard to get people on board with a show when you try to speak and describe it. But like I beg people to watch it because while it is a slow burn, once it got going, my God, has it been great. And every single one of the core actors, John Turturro's in that movie, Christopher Walken is in that show. Patricia Arquette is in that show. She is evil. It's so great. She's just evil. You want her to die. And yet she's so good at it. It's an amazing show. And every time I watch an episode again, you see new stuff. It is one of the greatest brain teases ever. And I can't speak highly enough about it. I can't wait for season 3. The way season 2 ended, it was like, Jesus Christ, I need another episode now. And the one drawback to a lot of these streaming shows is God knows when we'll get the next season. Could be tomorrow, could be 7 years from now. I just know it'll be good.
It's funny. I think we talked about that. I don't know if you were here or it was you and I or Dave and I, but we talked about how like streaming shows are less reliable, and maybe that's why less of them move forward because there's really no time frame for when they're going to be there, right? Like if it's a network show, you know when you're going to see new episodes of it. You know it's going to start in the fall and finish in the spring. So, but that's just a side note.
Yeah.
Is that your number 2?
That was my number 3.
That was your number. Oh, it's okay. So
should be your number 3, right?
No, I did my 3 already.
So it's my number 2. Yeah. All right. My number 2.
And I got to catch up. Once I re-log into Apple TV again, I'm probably going to lose like 3 weeks of my life. So,
right. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know.
Way back in the 80s, Dr. Samuel Beckett discovered a way to travel through time.
Nice.
And one day he stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and vanished. He awoke to find himself trapped in the past, trapped in the bodies and faces that weren't his, and constantly driven with the need to set things right that once went wrong. hoping that each time the next leap would be the leap home. Quantum Leap will forever be one of my favorite science fiction television shows of all time. You know, every episode would open the same way. Scott Bakula would wake up confused, unsure of what was happening around him, find himself in a situation and say, "Do you remember?"
What have I
Oh
got
boy.
myself into? Oh boy.
No.
Yeah, well,
Oh
he was
boy.
always conveniently like popped up next to a mirror too.
Yeah, well, that was at the beginning. As it moved on a little bit further, like that went away.
That was
But
always a great part of it. The initial reveal to himself as what he looked like.
yeah, one of the things it sucks to me as a fan that show didn't get the finale
I loved it.
that we wanted. It got canceled abruptly.
On too. Yeah. I mean,
And the original run, I remember watching that final episode and having to sit there with a black title card that just said Samuel Beckett never returned home. And having to be like, well, that fucking sucks. Even though the whole conceit of the show is that Sam is being driven and guided by a higher purpose, call it God, call it karma, call it doing what's right. He just knows that he has to do these things to help make the world a better place. And it was such a great show. It took on so many challenging and to this day still relevant episodes where whether it be a white guy leaping into a black person's body or the body of a pregnant woman or the mind of a mentally disabled person, like he did all these different things. It got a little ridiculous by season 5. He was leaping into famous people, like he leapt into Elvis at one point. He leapt into he didn't leap into Marilyn Monroe. He leaped into the body of Lee Harvey Oswald at one point. Like, he was just there. It did get a little silly at the end, but man, that the early episodes of that seasons of that show in particular really challenged people to think and look at their world. And Quantum Leap, like, find that on streaming and watch it, people. It's so great.
I loved that show. Ziggy was like the control thing, right? With the
Ziggy was the computer, and
Dean Stockwell was awesome as
Al.
Al. He was fucking amazing. Yeah, so I enjoyed the shit out of that. I thought didn't they do like a
They did a revival series. They did a revival. They tried to do a sequel series where they were still kind of trying to replicate the technology and find Dr. Beckett and bring him back. It only lasted one season. It did not take off. I watched it. It was fine. It was good. I was ready. I would have watched it till the end. Still, like, it did not compare to the OG, but that could just be old man Patrick talking.
My number 2 is probably not a surprise. My last 2 are probably no surprise if you've followed me at all throughout my podcasting career. This is a show that we actually have covered episode by episode all the way into the middle of the 4th season when we stopped doing it on DWI. I'd bring it back, but no one else wants to do it with me anymore. But that is the show about nothing, Seinfeld, considered easily one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, created by Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld with, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jason Alexander, Michael Richards. What's Newman's real name?
I don't even know. Newman.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Dodson. Yeah. Dodson. We got Dodson over here. Jurassic Park. He was in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he was also in Jurassic Park, yes. But the things that they talked about and did on that show and the way they approached them, it was hilarious. I mean, there was never a moment of like seriousness either. Even when George's fiance died because she licked old stamps old envelopes with toxic glue on them. The doctor said that she passed, and they kind of all looked at each other and said, maybe we should get some coffee. So I know the ending wasn't great for everybody, but that's just one episode. I thought the seasons after Larry David left were still really good. I still watch this all the time. I think there's a clear divide of in age where people do like this show or don't like this show. And it's if you grew up and went to grade school and high school with a cell phone in your pocket, you probably don't like Seinfeld. But if you made it to where you still didn't actually take a cell phone with you, grade school and high school, you probably like Seinfeld. But I love the show. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. And here's a little reveal. I completely stopped watching and got tired of Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness, considering he just basically did the same shtick over and over, just on a different historical event. It was just the kind of the same thing over and over. But for me, Seinfeld, just I enjoy it so much.
In the land of culturally relevant, Seinfeld was part of the zeitgeist, particularly. Like No Soup for You. Still,
Right.
people say that today, and they don't even know why they say it. When those actors' contracts were up for renewal for another season, it made national news. Like people followed along. So it is undeniable the footprint that Seinfeld had on sitcoms kind of changed the way people looked at what a sitcom could or should be. Interestingly enough, and looked at a way that comedy could be viewed differently, like on a nightly half-hour television program.
Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight, yes, that is correct. So my greatest of all time show, also a comedy. Tony hates it, but anybody who knows anything about me knows that I love Bill Lawrence. And
you don't.
Bill Lawrence.
You can go for. I thought you were going to go last. No.
No. Oh, did you not? That's your number 2?
Yeah.
Oh, Seinfeld's not your number 1?
No.
I just assumed that Seinfeld was your number 1.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cede the floor. You know what? It's because you cheated at number 3.
Because I threw 2 in there. It's not even it's a streaming show. Like that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a streaming show. Yeah. It's the whole Game of Thrones universe.
Okay.
That's not a surprise.
So you cheated again because it's multiple shows.
The House of the Dragon then has been the best, but
Okay.
The whole thing is amazing. It's really just a chance to plug what we're doing, covering all that as well. I've had so much fun doing that on the Attitude of Aggression podcast. But like, if you include the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, the 1 season that they've done of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and now they're in the 3rd season of House of the Dragon, this has by far to me been the best season of any of those 12 seasons in the Game of Thrones universe, right? So the acting is excellent. The storytelling is excellent. There's dragons if you like that. The action is amazing. It's everything an adult show like that should be. And it's, come on the heels of basically like, remember the series Rome on HBO that they did only a couple seasons of because it costs so much? Well, they learned a lot from that on how to make these things, and they can do it more cost effectively because talk about like Game of Thrones, and they even had their biggest task this year of one of their opening episode of House of the Dragon to pull the gullet, but just the casting and the writing and the show directing, and it's just been amazing and one of my favorite things to watch.
Cool.
And cover.
It's one of those shows that I have avoided. Like the Game of Thrones, I was pretty sour on the end of Game of Thrones. The last season felt rushed. I've never made that a secret. So that is led me to hesitate, though I've heard so many good things, not just about House of the Dragon 2, but also the first season of
Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I've heard good things, so we'll see. Maybe someday. I'm watching my own stuff right now, so I got that going for me. All right, now my number 1. I apologize.
That's all right.
My number 1. It's first of all, Bill Lawrence is the executive producer who is kind of ruling the landscape of comedy currently. If you look at how his shows are doing, he's got Ted Lasso, he's got Shrinking, he's got Rooster. They're all basically the same show. It's like a middle-aged white guy in crisis, like having some sort of like midlife crisis. Like that's basically everything he does. But prior to his time as a, doing a lot of these streaming shows, he also he did Spin City, and they did my all-time favorite comedy, one that you've shared you don't like, Scrubs. I don't know if it was the timing of Scrubs or when it came out, or just that the way that comedy works and the jokes that they tell are just so, when I watched it, because it was very much steeped in 70s and 80s nostalgia, like that drives a lot of the comedy. It spoke to me. And I always tell the story of when Scrubs landed me for good. And the way most of the comedy works is that the main character, JD, played by Zach Braff, the biggest piece of shit, he is an arrogant piece of shit in real life, but he's a good actor. His character, JD, his mentor is this character played by John C. McGinley named Dr. Cox. Dr. Cox performs a procedure against the chief of medicine's wishes because the patient doesn't have insurance. And so they're having a showdown in the middle of the hospital where the chief of medicine, Bob Kelso, and Dr. Cox are arguing. And a lot of the comedy goes on inside JD's head in the form of fantasies. And as he's watching them, he's talking about them battling for the soul of the hospital, the light side versus the dark. In his head, John C. McGinley is dressed up like Obi-Wan Kenobi, but with like medical supplies. Like instead of a lightsaber, he's got like a pin light that he turns on that turns into a lightsaber. And Bob Kelso is wearing all black, but he's wearing like a surgical shield instead of a Darth Vader mask. He pulls out a pin light in red. And then the rest of the cast, both of the women characters have the Princess Leia buns. The janitor, who is played by Neil Flynn, who is one of the funniest guys, he is dressed up as a pseudo Chewbacca, while Donald Faison is dressed up as Han Solo. That scene stuck with me, and I was forever in on Scrubs and those characters and those stories, and I love them. They were it's one of the more medically accurate television shows you can find. That was something the people that they reached out to consult refused to do the show if Bill Lawrence didn't commit to, if we're going to do this, you're going to take what we tell you and you're going to put that on screen. You can be funny, but you can't lie about what the medical profession is or does. And so a lot of med students talk about how a lot of what they see there is very accurate to the life of an intern, a medical intern and a medical resident, and attending as the show progresses. I love that show. I watch it on repeat. Episodes still make me cry. The season finale was the true season finale before they did this reboot. The reboot's good. It's been nice. There's an interesting. They're doing Donald Faison's really into stop motion animation, so their season premiere they're actually doing a lot of, there's a stop motion animation element to it, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes, because I'm assuming it's directed by Donald Faison, so that should be a lot of fun. I love that show. I will never not love that show. You can't stop me from loving that show. Scrubs all day, every day.
No,
Say one nice thing about Scrubs.
Great cast of actors.
There you go. All right. So there you have it. There's our 5 greatest of all times. When we come back,
Now you have to watch out.
Tony and I are probably going to have some words as we talk about our goats, what we consider our worst television shows of all time. So real quick station identification, and then we'll be back. Here we go. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds / the 5x5 here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bandwagon Nerds / the 5x5 this week here on the Chairshot Radio Network, a part of the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Make sure you head over to ProWrestlingTees.com / the Chairshot for all of your Chairshot swag needs. You were about to hit the button, weren't you? Were you hit the sound button when I said always use your head?
No.
I did hezzy. It's okay.
Do you want it?
Make sure you... No, it's fine.
Thechairshot.com.
I mean, I'll take it.
Use your head.
Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button if you're listening to us live. Make sure you're following us, subscribe to us on all your podcast listening platforms. Make sure you head over to ProWrestlingTees.com / the Chairshot for all of your Chairshot swag needs. And now we get to the part of the 5x5 that people are generally more interested in because it's easy to talk glowingly about how good something is. People like the more, we won't call them salacious, but the juicy side, the negative side. They sometimes want to hear Patrick go on a rant. They want to hear Tunney go on a rant. Though Tunney doesn't really rant on Bandwagon Nerds nearly as much as Patrick does, unless they talk about like rich people getting richer in some way. Then he's like, shut the fuck up. I don't care about the cable companies.
Listen to DWI. There's a rant for you.
There you go. There you go. And that we always also flip the order of who goes first. And I'm going to start, and in an unbelievably, well, not totally ironic, but my number 5 GOAT of a show for me, remember, this is Patrick's list, not anybody else's, Seinfeld. I think Seinfeld is one of the most overrated, stupid, pointless shows on the planet. Every time I tried to watch Seinfeld and these horrible people do horrible things to everyone around them, I'm probably one of the few people that watched the finale and was like, yes, they should go to jail. They're pieces of shit. I don't understand why everybody loves these pieces of shit. And so I understand I'm on an island here, people. I understand that this is a hot take. I also, no regrets about it. I hate Seinfeld so much. I never got it. Jason Alexander nails on a chalkboard. The Kramer, punch him in the face. Elaine, no one would date you. Jerry, why do you whine all the goddamn time, you big fucking baby? Do something with your life. You all suck.
What's the deal with Patrick not liking the show?
It sucks. Though, one of my low-key favorite Saturday Night Live sketches of all time, the stand-up comedian like Jeopardy show. If you don't remember this, it was when Jerry Seinfeld hosted SNL. He plays a host of a game show where it's stand-up comedians, one-liners, and Adam Sandler keeps being like, what's the deal with blah, 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 blah. That's like his answer. Or no, his answer is always, who are the ad wizards who come up with this one? And he's like wrong every time. It's funny. Hate Seinfeld.
That's too bad.
Isn't it though? You may go with your number 5. I don't want to belabor one of your favorite shows.
No, it's fine. If you don't, I mean, that's fine. I mean, like, you know, Scrubs isn't on my list of this, but my list of shows is things I've actually watched that I just don't like. My number 5 is the so properly named ABC show Lost. I mean, and the thing is, I was watching it and it just kept getting worse and weirder and stupider and you know, and then the talk about bad finales. Oh my goodness. So they were dead the whole time and, you know, whatever. Like that show just kind of sucked in its entirety, especially if you were hooked in early and thought it was decent to start with. So
you want to know my version of that show? Same sort of deal. I maybe even been because did J.J. Abrams do Lost?
Yeah, he's a co-creator.
I don't know if he was involved. Do you remember the show Heroes with Hayden Panettiere, like the Save the Cheerleader, Save the World?
I watched the first episode, I think.
So I remember Mrs. O'Dowd and I watched multiple seasons because we were like, we're fucking committed. It's got to get better. And it was one of those shows had such a strong first season and then just went completely off the rails as it limped along for 5 seasons before finally ending. And it was like, mercifully, this is done. It's one of the few shows that once I started, I couldn't finish. Mrs. O'Dowd finished the show. And she was like, I had to see it through. But Lost was the same way. Like, I never got into Lost, but I remember that people got more and more disappointed as, like, it just seemed like you said, like that J.J. Abrams did this famous TED Talk where he talks about the thing about making a successful TV show is having this idea in this box, and there's something in the box, and you want to tease what's in the box, but you never want to reveal what's in the box. But what he failed to point out is that eventually people need to know and have a resolution as to what's in there. And they didn't figure it out. And by the time they ended Lost, it was too late.
Yeah, at the end, you need to let the people know whether the cat is alive or dead inside of Schrodinger's box when you finish a project. But anyway, my number 4, and here's an honorable mention to how NASCAR has ruined their sport by changing the way the rules are. Like, I can't even follow how to win a race or who makes the playoffs anymore. So, and I used to be a big fan, like, media consuming it as a medium, like watching it on the weekends back in the early 2000s, especially when Matt Kent, this was really good. And that's kind of dating my fanship, but I haven't been for a while. But nonetheless, that's just an honorable mention to the worst possible sport you can put on television. And I don't change the channel faster than when I come across cornhole on television. I don't watch cornhole on TV. I would rather watch darts or the grass cutting competition or the slippery slide on the Ocho. Like, cornhole is so boring, not just to play, but also to watch. And for all you cornhole lovers, good on you. Not for me changing the channel every time.
Wow. I was wondering where you were going there with that for a little nice lead up. Yeah, I don't get cornhole either. It also is one of those games that
I get the rules. I get it.
Oh, no, I understand the game. I don't understand why people go so nuts for it. Like, I don't know if this is true for you, but like, to me, it was always just a tailgate game that you used to kill time before football. That's how I remember it, is like, see people tailgating and doing it. And so when it became like this phenomena, again, much like pickleball, like people talk about pickleball, like, is this some revolutionary game? I was like, dude, we had a pickleball unit in gym class in Illinois where I grew up. I've known about pickleball for 30 some years. Don't talk to me like I don't understand this game. I know what a kitchen is. I know you stay out of the kitchen. I know. Yeah. Like, it was funny. But yeah, cornhole's stupid. I can appreciate that. And that there are cornhole leagues and that people make money off of it. Good on you. But yeah, no thanks. My next show for my number 4, I don't know that I've been more disappointed in a show, and I'm glad it was canceled after one season, because I literally started hate watching it by the time it was all said and done. We talked about it on Bandwagon Nerds. In fact, Dave also hated it. But in all of the many things that Disney has fucked up when they have fucked up Star Wars, nothing to me has been more egregious than The Acolyte. The Acolyte viscerally made me angry with how dumb the story was and what they were trying to do. It was utterly predictable. When we get to watch it, I'm going to reiterate a Star Wars problem, by the way, or foreshadowing, because there is a serious Star Wars problem that Disney can't get past, and they need to fix it soon. Hopefully, with Ryan Gosling's upcoming movie, we'll get that, but who knows? But the Acolyte, like, it pained me to admit, because it's a story that I'm interested in. Like, they talk about Darth Plagueis in the the prequel trilogy, Darth Plagueis the Wise, and the how he mentored the Emperor, and how do we get there? And we're not going to see that story because the Acolyte is so fucking stupid that we're not going to get that far. It was a big miss. It was a poorly written show. It was a poorly conceived show. Nothing against the actors who tried to make it work. They did their best, but it was just bad, and I was mad at it. Like, and I don't like mad, like Retainer Boy mad at it. You're not getting Retainer Boy. Don't ask for it, but thoroughly upset and disappointed in the Acolyte. It was terrible. And you are fortunate, Tunney, to have not watched it.
Did I not watch that?
Or I don't think you did. I don't think we covered it. Did we cover it?
Is it a series, right?
It was a series. I can't remember if we covered it. I'm sorry I made you cover it. I definitely went off on that show more than once. Maybe we did. I don't even remember. I'm getting old. I'm getting up there in years. Patrick forgot something. Drink.
Yeah, Soul Lee Hoon Jae.
Oh well, yeah. Then I go back and listen to the archives to hear how much I hated that show.
Yeah, we covered that. I'm pretty sure.
I hated that show.
I hated. The one girl played twins, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we watched that.
And spoiler alert: the good twin turns evil.
Well, Bart or Bort?
What?
Simpsons joke. Sorry.
Oh.
Keep going.
Yes, both. All right, my number 3. The hits keep coming with shows that Tony likes and Patrick does not.
Oh, crap.
I have repeatedly
I think I know
tried
which
to
one.
watch The Office. I have tried so hard.
You don't
So
like The
many
Office?
people. I can't stand it. I can't stand Jim is a piece of shit. Fucking fuck that guy.
Why? What did he do?
He's just a dick to everyone. And we're supposed to be like, oh, he's so cool because he fucks with Dwight because he's a dick.
Well,
And Dwight's a dick. And Michael Scott is a horrible, terrible person of a boss until they soften him up later. He's a dick. Everybody's Jenna what's her nuts. Dick. They're all a bunch of dicks. They fucking suck and they deserve what happens to them in fucking Pennsylvania. Get out of my television screen. I repeat it, like, seriously, dude. I tried to watch different seasons because people are like, don't watch season 1. Season 1 isn't good. So, like, all right, I'll go try to reset. No. Like, and I'll use a different example. Parks and Rec, which follows the same format. And everybody's like, oh, you like Parks and Rec? You must like The Office. No, I hate it because the people weren't, like, I did not get behind the people. And I know that eventually they evolve, sure, whatever. Too little, too late. And the thing that really stuck with me is I remember watching the first season of Parks and Rec and being like, I enjoy this. It's rough, but maybe it's going to go somewhere. Season 2, the second Rob Lowe had Adam Scott get there and Mark Brandanowitz character leaves, that show completely flips on a dime and finds itself. Every time I watch those characters, I get angry at how awful and awkward and uncomfortable they are. I get mad at them physically. And anybody who tells me it's a good show, to quote Dwight, false.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. Michael!
I'm sure that's something.
It is. It is. It is. So that was your number 3?
True story. When I talked about Heroes, I actually had Heroes on the list. I marked it off.
Yeah.
To put The Office on.
Wow. Thank you. Is that your
Here
number
for you? That is my number 3. Go ahead.
My number 3 is just a genre in and of itself.
Okay.
Hallmark movies. They're cheesy and stupid and the same. Like you already know what's gonna happen, right? They're not for me.
I'm just a lumberjack in a small town waiting for my high school sweetheart who went to the big city to come back and discover Christmas and love.
Like
leave her big city lawyer boyfriend behind.
I'll give them credit though; they're smart though. They did stuff like, and there's Hallmark, and then there's another one too that does
Lifetime.
Yeah, so one of them did capitalized on the whole Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing. They did a Chiefs kind of themed Hallmark movie, but yeah, man, unless you're having to endure that to get a little action that night, it's just not worth it to me.
It's funny you mentioned this because I'm a Disney guy. They did a Disney. There's a Hallmark Disney Christmas rom-com coming this year that was filmed in Walt Disney World, and it has I can't remember the name of the young lady. I just remember she was in Lost in Space, and she does a bunch of these.
She was also on Party of Five. She was the youngest daughter on Party of Five.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. It starts with like a C something. Her last name starts with a C. But yeah, she is the lead in this Walt Disney World rom-com. So whatever that is. But it clearly, it's a cash cow. It works for who it does, but I can appreciate the dislike.
Lacey Chabert.
That's her. Yes. You are correct, sir.
Talk about a cast. Scott Wolf, Matt Fox, Nev Campbell, Jennifer Jugs Hewitt. Those balls are definitely too big to fit in Jennifer Love Hewitt's mouth. That's just a shout out to South Park. Nothing to do with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Sorry. So my number 2?
Your number 2?
No,
my number 2.
Yeah, your number
2.
No. That was my number 3.
Office.
Hallmark
you're on your number
3. Right.
Yes.
So now
you're number 2.
And then your number. Okay.
It wouldn't be an episode of the 5x5 if we didn't get a little lost.
I'm not drinking today. That's why, baby.
Oh.
Nothing serious. Lock and Key. What the fuck happened?
I was waiting for that.
I mean,
you were so excited about that first season too. I remember
it
that.
was great. It was a great first season, right? Just like The Witcher. And The Witcher storyline wise, at least, isn't it become as egregious with changing the main character.
There's still a level of coherence.
Right, but Lock and Key just got so absolutely horrible. Like even the actors became bad at playing a role they were so good at the beginning of the season. So I got to give it up to Lock and Key.
They really phoned it in. Like I begrudgingly admit how hard they phoned it in, particularly in season 3.
I would just watch the first season. It's a very fun, cool season, and then just leave it at that. Know that it gets stupid from there if you want to watch it, or just skip it all together. But yeah, we were all in agreement that was really rough to finish here on the bandwagon.
All right. So this is the first show that I heard about that people talked about how bad it was, that I then decided to check it out to see if it was as bad as everyone says. It was a little show that did not complete its first season in the 80s. I think it made it 8 episodes. And there was a genius in a television studio that conceived of the idea of let's have a cop drama, but make it a musical. We're going to call it Cop Rock. And we're going to solve crime and bust drug dealers, but we're going to sing about it. And we're going to put it on television, and it's going to be a hit. It was, kids, I'm here to tell you I watched it so you don't have to, because it's probably objectively one of the worst ideas of a television show and worst executed television shows on the planet. It's so bad. It's so bad. And Tunney, do yourself a favor if you need a laugh. Watch 5 minutes of a Cop Rock episode, just like on YouTube, to see how ridiculous it is.
Do you know the day I found out about Cop Rock?
Was it because of me?
It was right now, today. Today is that day.
Yeah. So this is a real show. It happened in the 80s. Very much a thing that is real. Again, if you want to laugh at something and how terrible it is, Cop Rock is your laugh. And that's all I really am going to say about Cop Rock, because it's
sounds like a horrible idea, to be honest with you. The contrast.
I have no idea how anybody could objectively say that was something to put on television. It was unbelievable. Yeah, and dancing. Like there's dance numbers. Like we're sliding across the hood of cars and doing little leg thingies, like the whole thing. Anyway, I watched that show because I was like, is it that bad? It's that bad. It really is that bad. But not as bad, in my opinion, as my number one show. This is going to be a hot take to my fellow children of the 90s. And I'm going to say this is a show that, again, very much a part of ingrained in our pop culture to this day. You can catch it on repeat on multiple stations on networks.
You're going where I think you're going. You literally shit on 3 of the biggest sitcoms in the history of fucking television.
Oh, I'm doing it because no one told them that life was going to be this way. Their jobs were jokes. They're broke. Their love life's DOA. I almost said DNA. Again, Friends. 6 objectively terrible, self-absorbed, dumbass people living a life nobody could live in their sort of stratosphere. Like their apartments alone are a lie. Their reserved table at a coffee shop in downtown New York, a popular coffee shop, a lot. Like, no. And they're just no. And they're awful to each other. They're awful to others. They don't get it. They're self-absorbed. And we all were like, Roth and Rachel, is she going to get off the plane? Fucking nobody cares. They're terrible people. They deserve to be miserable. And those children that are conceived at the end of that series are still in therapy. Because, God, this show is terrible. I hated it. I don't care. And again, I know and remember episodes. I remember the episode where nobody gets ready for Ross and Joey and Chandler fight over a chair cushion and a seat to the point where Joey gets mad, goes commando, and wears everything at Chandler's and does lunges. I remember these episodes. You can't escape them. Hey, I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Like, I remember these shows. They are nap time shows. They are shows that I sleep, and when I hear the music of the show ending, tells me that it's been 30 minutes and it's time to get off the couch. Fuck Friends, worst show of all time, and I don't even regret it. So saith me.
Big day for you today, Patrick.
You know what? Send your hate tweets to @AttitudeAGG on X and all of your social media. Not on X, on all of your other social media platforms.
Oh, Friends and Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens are all series that I didn't like. I wasn't in love with when they were on in their original run, but kind of like grew to respect and like them more in syndication. But hey, to each his own. To each his own. The last show we're going to talk about here is one that I watched and was excellent for its probably first half, at least of its run, maybe even more, but just couldn't figure out a way to finish their story. Ended up doing it very poorly. And upon trying to rewatch the series years later, just couldn't get into even episodes I really enjoyed the first time around. And that's How I Met Your Mother. It's just not a rewatch. It's not a rewatch.
Ted's not a likable character at all, too.
Ted is just so annoying when you watch it.
He's whiny.
And then all the fun stuff that Barney gives you in that show, you've already seen, right? And then Jason Segel and Lily, their relationship
Allison Hannigan.
Yeah, is okay. And then we also have who plays Robin. She's also in the MCU.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I can't.
Nick Fury's girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that series just kind of
Robin Scherbatsky.
Yeah, it just kind of got bad before it was even over.
What is her name? She's Canadian. What's that about?
Kobe Smulders.
Colby Smulders. Smoldering.
Yeah, she's not bad. But no, the show it's a good show if you've never seen it before, but just know that it takes them a long time to get to what you really want to know is how he met their mother. And
then she's such an afterthought. Like when she's finally introduced.
Yeah, it's a big nothing.
And that really turned a lot of fans off. I remember that. Like when they did that last season where you think it's going to finally reveal her, only for you to know that she's dead.
Right. That's why he's been telling the story the whole time. Like everybody wanted it to be Robin, right? But then they kept passing Robin around between Barney and Ted, and you're like, well, this really doesn't happen in a lot of friendships where the guys just keep going back dating the same girl. Like
it's my turn to tag her.
Yeah, no, that's not really the way life works a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, and so, but hey, he brought that blue French horn, so you got that going for you.
There you go.
So there you go, everybody. That is our goats and our goats. When it comes to television shows, I hope you enjoyed this list as much as we had making it. Feel free to send all your angry tweets, messages, put them wherever. I don't care. Bring it on. Fuck Seinfeld. Fuck The Office. Fuck Friends.
Wow.
That's right. You heard me. I said it again. I said what I said. I said what I said. So thank you. Tony, I hope you had fun doing this list. I hope you had fun doing this 5x5. I love doing these games.
Nice little change up. Take a trip down memory lane today on Four Corners on Bandwagon Nerds. So
right. And next week, it's going to be a big week for us on the bandwagon. I think I've already mentioned it. We're going to finish up talking about X-Men 97. That's coming to a finale. Boy, Gambit go crazy. We got, Apocalypse inside Gambit go crazy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Destination T23. Maybe we'll wrap up the 80s project if we have the time. We'll have to see what happens there. If D23 gives us a lot, that'll be a trailer park / news around the Nerdosphere all on its own. But we'll be here regardless. We'll be continuing to give you the best in all things nerd. But it does lead us, though, to our final segment of today's show, and that is What You Watching. Wanted to cover it because I did catch a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, but I'll start with you, Tony. Tony, what you watching this week?
A lot of the same stuff, but something that I said I was going to watch that I did finish up was Sports Jeopardy, streaming on Disney Plus on the ESPN part there. Joe Buck does a great job hosting, and they bring in a good mixture of like ESPN personalities and a few actors. that are big sports fans as well. So the questions are solid. Joe Buck is really good as the host. So it was fun for any of you sports trivia people or Jeopardy fans in general. It was a good time.
Cool. Yeah, it's been intriguing. It just hasn't been something I've been able to catch up on or catch just
The only
yet.
tough part about it is it's filmed for like an hour-long television thing, so they're really like 43 minutes. They do the one thing in Jeopardy that I don't necessarily love, and that's they do 3 rounds instead of just the 2 rounds. So they could put it out as an hour show, probably on ABC or ESPN when they wanted to, but still really good.
Cool. I finally got around to seeing The Odyssey this week, and
Did you see it regular screen or did you get?
I saw it at regular screen because the closest I could get to, because it was still playing on an IMAX theater in actually the theater I used to go to all the time with Mrs. O'Dowd back when I worked at UConn, but it was in Connecticut. It was a 20 some miles away, and it's not a short 20 some miles away drive. Like it's a twisty, turny, winding, like get to a place to reach it. And so just doing the math of doing that haul to get to this theater for a 3-hour film going experience and then turn around, like that was a lost day. Like if I did that, it was going to be a lost day. And so I ended up seeing it locally. I completely understand why it should be seen on a big screen. I do equate it to Dune in the sense that it really feels like it should be on a bigger screen. The thing for me as a guy who studied, I was an English major in undergrad, and everybody who's an English major in undergrad reads the Odyssey and the Iliad, and your professor really sort of drives your interpretation as they sort of share it with you. And there's right now there's this translator of the Odyssey who's making all this noise because she thinks that Christopher Nolan did a shitty job of his interpretation of the Odyssey. And that's her right to her opinion. I think she is cashing in and milking on to the attention that is coming with it a little bit. Like she made her statement, some people pushed back. She's now double downing on it and getting interviews. And to me, it's very much like I'm going to put myself out there as this authority because I'm saying the counter popular thing to the movie that has now made $1.1 billion. And fun note, has led people to buying her translation of the Odyssey. So she's making money off the success of a movie she hates for something she didn't even conceive. She just translated it. So bully for you. It does interpret Odysseus and why he's lost in a way that is not how I've interpreted the text. I don't think it's bad necessarily. It's just a different way of looking at it, that it's very much more about Odysseus's sins in Troy versus his arrogance towards Poseidon, which is the original. Like when you read it, he becomes lost when he mocks Polyphemus, the son of Poseidon, as they are escaping his island. So interesting thing. Thought it was great. Also think it's hilarious. People are all pissed off about Elliot Page being Achilles, and he's not Achilles. He's just some dude that plays an important role, but is not Achilles. And so that fervor died down. Lupita Nyong'o is a beautiful woman and can absolutely play Helen of Troy. That's totally fine. Go fuck yourself. You're racist if you don't like her in that role. Phenomenal movie. Really, really good. John Leguizamo should get a Best Supporting Actor, at least a nomination, if not a win for this. He was amazing. He was probably my favorite part as the blind servant. A few months ago on this show, we did a trailer for the Trailer Park that both you and Dave were like, this isn't for me. I'm not going to watch it. And it was part of the Star Wars Visions line. And it was an anime Star Wars series called The Ninth Jedi. And I remember seeing this trailer and being very, very excited for it. Well, I watched the first episode today, and to say I am disappointed I don't want to say it's an understatement. I don't hate it like I hated The Acolyte. It does not, in this, for at least one episode in, does not tread new ground. It is Empire-like entity taking over various systems in the galaxy, led by a mysterious dude in a black mask who speaks in a funny voice and is clearly a Jedi of some sort, though in this one, he's holding a blue lightsaber instead of a red one. You have a young girl character who is a Jedi with potential, looking for her father, who is currently being held by the evil guy, and her clear as day going to be questioning her faith in the Jedi religion. It's just a story that's been told before. Now it's an anime. Bad guys have robot soldiers. Good guys have human soldiers. It's I'm going to give it another episode just because they're already all there. But this first episode did not wow me. It's just a story we know and we've been told. So you and Dave, who were like, "This isn't for us," you're right.
Yeah.
So, all right. And on that note, folks, we're coming to the end of the show. Just another reminder that this show is brought to you as part of the Chairshot Radio Network here on thechairshot.com. We remind you to always use your head. Make sure you follow us on all of your social media platforms, whether that's at Chairshot Media on X or other social media platforms. Make sure you're following the channel on YouTube, like and subscribe there. And make sure you're following us on all of your podcasting platforms. Make sure you're following, subscribing, liking there. I mentioned this once before. If you do that, you don't have to search for the Chair Shot to get your Chair Shot content. It just gives it to you. It's just right there. Tell a friend, share it with the friends so that they can subscribe too. And then they'll just get it. It'll be awesome. Tony, anything to add? Anything you want them to do? Anybody you want them to follow?
No, just keep living your life and tuning into this show every week. And you can find me at PC Tunney if you have any questions for me.
I would be remiss if we didn't put over our good friend David Ungar, the lawyer himself, at Attitude Ag. That's at Attitude AGG on most social media platforms. And there at www.attitudeofaggression.com is Dave's site. He puts a lot of our content up there too, and will give you the deepest of deep dives into the unidentified. What are they called? They're not called UFOs.
UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons.
UAPs. So for those of you that need the new school, it's UAPs, not the old school, known as UFOs. Good stuff. And you can follow me on most of your social platforms at Wrestling Realist. That is at WRESTLNGREALIST. That is going to do it, though, for this week's edition of Bandwagon Nerds / the 5x5. Now get yourself out of the basement, get some sun, and then go check out some clips of Cop Rock and have yourself a laugh. You'll never forget it, and then it'll add to the hate tweets you send me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com.